The UK desperately needs a comprehensive post-Brexit free trade agreement with the EU more than Brussels requires it with London, political experts have warned, as the impact of a no-deal scenario could be far more severe for Britain. Negotiations on the future relationship between the UK and EU began in March after Prime Minister Boris Johnson delivered on his general election manifesto promise to get Brexit done on January 31. David Frost took a negotiating army to Brussels to begin talks with a team led by EU counterpart Michel Barnier, and there were smiles aplenty for the camera from the outset. But those smiles have soon been wiped off faces, with the trade talks dominated by vicious blows between the two sides over their negotiating stances and demands for certain elements in any post-Brexit agreement. Key areas such as the level playing field, state aid, tax and access to the single market all still remain unresolved, with no solution in sight. Mr Johnson is insisting a trade deal must be signed with the EU before the end of the transition period on December 31, but has infuriated Brussels by refusing requests to extend this deadline. Trade talks could reach a critical point on Monday when the next round of virtual negotiations begin, with Mr Frost continuing to warn the EU needs to dramatically change its stance in negotiations and relent on a number of areas if further progress is to be made. On Wednesday, Mr Barnier sent a letter to UK opposition party leaders and said Brussels was open to the idea of extending the transition period by up to 2 years. But this move was immediately slapped down by both Mr Johnson and Mr Frost, who are sticking by their determination to have a trade deal signed with the EU before the end of this year. Despite Britain appearing to be in control of negotiations and making demands of the EU, political experts have warned that it is in fact Brussels who hold the upper hand in current trade talks.